Hey you guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Seven. I'm a consumer protection law advocate and a credit repair specialist. I wanted to create a YouTube channel where I can actually provide value without being timed and just, I don't know, having to work on other people's time. And I definitely just want to be able to debunk a lot of the things that I hear on this here platform, on Instagram, on TikTok, because there's just a lot of things that people are not telling you, and a lot of things that I really don't see a lot of people talking about on YouTube. So here you go. On this channel, I definitely want to give you guys some credit tips, some lessons, some how-tos when it comes to attacking your credit profile. I just want to let you know that I'm glad you're here, because what I'm going to teach you guys will always work because it's the law. I don't use anything else but the law, because honestly, when you think about it, if you're trying to get a certain something, a certain item off of your credit report that's negative, you think writing them a nice letter like, hey, TransUnion, hey, Equifax, dear Experian, can you please remove this negative item from my credit report, please and thank you? They are not going to do that. You have to put them in a position where they have to. You have to put them in a position where there's no way around it. You can't give them a choice. And that's why I use the law to enforce just credit repair, period. So you'll hear a lot of different things when it comes to consumer protection law and credit repair, just off the strength that it's a whole, and I don't want to get too much into it in this video, but it's a whole different world out here when it comes to the government, when it comes to our birth certificate, our social security number. It goes way deeper than credit repair. So I know you'll hear a whole bunch of like mixed opinions and just mixed information about credit repair in general, but I just want to let you know that, again, this is the law. They have to follow it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I thought it'd be cute to do my first video as a Q&A. I definitely posted a question and answer kind of box on my Instagram story. I had created my business page. I separated it from 7CEO because I definitely just wanted like a more creative outlet for myself. I didn't want to just put out business content. And so I separated my business page from my personal page, and I put up a Q&A on my business page, and a lot of people actually interacted, and I was heavily surprised, but all the things. So I'm going to be going through these questions right now. I have a couple of screenshots. I have like 4 screenshots. Some of the questions are redundant, so I'm just going to go over the main ones that I feel like you guys are really going to get value from. And yeah, so we could honestly just get right into the video. Okay, so first question. If a lawyer sends a letter saying this is an attempt to collect the debt, is he the creditor now? So no, he is a debt collector. However, 15 USC 1692 E3, this is the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. It says, and I'm going to read it to you. A debt collector may not use any false, deceptive, or misleading representation or means in connection of the collection of any debt. Without limiting the general application of the foregoing, the following conduct is a violation of this section. 3 reads, the false representation or implication that any individual is an attorney or that any communication is from an attorney. So they can't be, a debt collector can't act as an attorney in order to collect the debt. But if an actual attorney is trying to collect the debt, he is a debt collector. Next question. Can I get sued for something that's not even on my credit report? Simple answer, absolutely. You can absolutely get sued for something that's not on your credit report. If you entered into contract with a financial institution and you defaulted on your agreement, essentially they can sue you for what they call a breach of contract. However, there are defenses to every single claim. So essentially, with a breach of contract, there are 4 elements that they have to prove. If they don't prove this in their initial pleading, they will lose. If they don't prove that that a valid contract existed, that they fulfilled their part of the agreement, that you defaulted on your part of the agreement, and that it caused them financial hardship or it caused them any type of injury, if they don't prove all of those elements, they cannot win the lawsuit against you. Just because you get sued does not mean that they will win. So I strongly, strongly, strongly recommend that you know the defenses to the claims that they're bringing against you, so that you'll be able to use those as affirmative defenses in your answer. Next question. If the collection just sends statements as verification, should I contact the CFPB? I'm very I'm not going to use the word biased because I'm not biased. I'm just very like hesitant when it comes to using the CFPB, just off the strength that I don't like my time wasted. And the CFPB has been doing nothing but wasting my time. Like my particular disputes prior to me doing it the way that I do it now, I always used to use the CFPB as an avenue because they are a governing entity. But I don't even know, like my disputes would always it was just never resolved through the CFPB. So I personally don't use the CFPB to recommend it to anybody because I just always have just negative experiences with them. Never got anything resolved through them, but they are a governing party. So to answer your question, if the collections just send statements as verification, should I contact CFPB? You definitely want to check the governing parties for debt collectors. I believe the governing party would be the FTC versus the CFPB. So I would take it up with the FTC or my state's attorney general when it comes to unfair debt collection practices. Next question. What if they verify your account if you have sent in proof of inaccuracies? I'm assuming this is about the credit repair agencies. It wasn't specified in the question. However, I personally love when I get a verified letter back and things are still showing up inaccurate. First of all, as I was saying in the beginning of the video, you have to make these credit reporting agencies move. Okay, a lot of the time, it's not just going to be a simple letter of you asking them to do something and they're just going to comply with your requests or demands. It has to be a situation where you have to trap them in a way where they cannot get out of it. Under the FCRA, the Fair Credit Reporting Act, which is the statute that governs credit reporting agencies, they are to conduct a reasonable reinvestigation once they receive a dispute from the consumer, right? So if I'm challenging, or if you, the consumer, is challenging any item of information on our credit report and we're disputing the completeness and accuracy, the law, the FCRA, says that a reinvestigation is required, right? And the FCRA was enacted for the credit reporting agencies to follow reasonable procedure. Knowing what the reasonable procedures are will help you gauge how you move when it comes to getting what it is that you want, whether you want the trade line deleted, whether you want monetary relief, whatever it is. Understanding what they're supposed to do and required to do by law will be able to gauge your course of action as far as how to move forward, because then you'll be able to hold them civilly liable. So essentially, to answer your question, I'm not sure if I answered it. What if they verify your accounts? If you disputed the completeness and the accuracy, right? And that triggered the reinvestigation. The reinvestigation came back and they verified it as accurate. And the inaccuracies are still there. There's incomplete fields. There's still things that they're supposed to be reporting that they're not reporting, or whatever it is. That is when I suggest you take legal action, because again, for those of you who don't know, when you send in these disputes, they go through an automated system called ʀᴏᴇ. So no real person is reading your disputes anyway, and I'm not about to be going back and forth with a computer. It's just not happening. So I would definitely recommend that if you are comfortable, if you know what you're doing, if you're familiar with the process, definitely take a chance and come into legal action, because that's exactly when they'll move for sure. When disputing with CFPB, do we have to allow them 60 days to find out if the law requires 30? So, and this is another reason why I never really understood the CFPB in this way, and why I personally stood clear, because I would send in my disputes and they would tell me they have 60 days. They, meaning the person that I'm disputing against, they have 60 days to respond. The law, the FCRA, especially if you're talking about the credit reporting agencies, the law provides them 30 days, not 60. They provide them an additional 15 days if during the reinvestigation process you send in something else that's valid to your initial dispute. So cap is 45 days, to be honest. I don't know where they got the 60 from, but essentially it's 30 to 45 days, as that is what the law, more specifically, what the Fair Credit Reporting Act says. Who and where do we send violation invoice to? I would recommend, if you are trying to commence legal action, well, first of all, I wouldn't recommend just sending an invoice, because they're not just gonna just pay you. You have to definitely have built a case. You definitely would have had to have, I personally like doing courtesy complaints where I let them know that I have all intention to file this complaint against them for my violations, and I would have my notice of violations and my intent to sue attached to it, and I would send all of this to their meaning the company, their registered agent, so I know that they're for a fact going to receive it. So if that's what it is that you're trying to do, definitely find out the company's registered agent and address it to the registered agent's address. If I redispute accounts, can I ask for payment of violations? If you're redisputing accounts, that means that the whatever it is that you're disputing is like they're not taking it off. So essentially, you're not going to ask for payment of violations. You're just going to file a complaint against them in your via arbitration. If it's a financial institution, if it's the credit reporting agencies, I would recommend your state court, civil, federal court, small claims court, whatever it is. Any choice of venue is fine, but I would commence legal action because that's when they're actually going to pay you. You just asking them to fulfill an invoice of $5,000 is not going to cut it. They're not just going to give you that money. They're just not going to hand it to you because that's just how predatory they are. When trying to get paid for each violation, is it $1,000 per account or $1,000 per each inaccuracy? So essentially, it's $1,000 per violation. So if you're disputing, let's say you disputed 3 accounts at a time and they violated you the same way for 3 of those accounts, that's 3 separate violations because they're 3 different accounts. Let's say that the payment history was wrong. The monthly payment was inaccurate, and there was just a whole bunch of different inaccuracies. You don't get paid for negative reporting. You don't get paid for inaccuracies. You get paid under the FCRA for violations of the law. What that means is because the Fair Credit Reporting Act is not a strict liability statute, you can only hold them civilly liable if they fail a requirement under the FCRA. So for example, if they fail to conduct the reinvestigation after they received your notice of dispute, disputing the completeness or accuracy of something on your consumer report, if they fail to conduct a reinvestigation, that is a violation. Because under 15 U.S.C. section 1681I, reinvestigations are required once the credit reporting agencies receive a notice of dispute. Okay, you guys, so that was all the questions I had for today. Thank you so much for watching. I definitely want to do a lot more videos like this, just giving you guys tips, the inside look on the credit repair process, and actually breaking down consumer protection laws that are in place for us, because a lot of people surprisingly don't know them. I've just got into consumer protection laws probably about a year, not even, like 2-3 years ago, and it's just been life-changing for me. I definitely want to just spread all of the information it is that I know, because this information has changed my life. It's changed my perspective, and I want to be able to do the same for you. So make sure you like, make sure you put your post notices on, make sure you subscribe, share this video with a friend, and I'll see you in the next video.